There we go. Just had to reset the old the old little box there. Got it. Yes, ding. I'm sure everybody saw me go fuck. Everybody just give me a ding real quick. Just ding. All right. So yes, tonight we are going over some mythicism stuff. Kyle Butt has a video where he's talking about like evidence for Jesus existing, not just Jesus existing though, but basically the validity of the Bible. And so we're going to be taking a look at that, and I hope that you guys are going to enjoy it because I got a lot of great information. He says that calendars prove that Jesus definitely existed in the past. So we're going to be learning a little bit of history about calendars tonight. We're also going to be learning about, contradictions in archaeology, like archaeology that contradicts the Bible, because that's one thing that he brings up too. Skeptic Mafia members definitely know what I'm talking about, as they have already been able to watch the video. And that's because they're part of the Skeptic Mafia. If you want to go to joinskepticmafia.com, you too can become part of the Skeptic Mafia. Or you can hit that join link right here, or go to patreon.com, Godless Engineer, become a patron. You too can become part of the Skeptic Mafia. So, now that all that shit's out of the way, we have... Are y'all ready for this shit? I don't think that you're ready for this shit. Oh. Today I learned... Woohoo! Today I learned that despite being banned from World War II military service, Charles Lindbergh's knowledge of fuel efficiency helped double the effective range of the P-38. The pilots he worked with were so grateful they let him sneak on a combat mission where he scored a kill. Can you just imagine, like, having some kind of knowledge that allows you to get a kill on an official combat mission? I don't care what time period you're in. Like, that is fucking cool. I think that him requesting that is kind of odd. I don't know. It seems like he'd be a little bit more effective than just like, score a kill, and it's like it pops up like Call of Duty, like the thing, and he gets some points for doing it or something. I don't know. Anyways, I thought this was a really interesting piece of history, something to keep in your noggin there in case you want to throw it out at, I don't know, birthday parties or funerals. Let's see, next on Today I Learned. Oh, this one's relatable to tonight. Today I learned that in the Philippines, some Catholics volunteer to be non-lethally crucified on Good Friday. I haven't started drinking yet, by the way, just so you know. Sterilized nails are driven through their palms and they are hung on crosses. Ruben Inage, there you go, has been crucified 27 times. Philippines Department of Health advises tetanus shots before crucifixion. Oh, of course they would. They're driving nails through your fucking arms. Which I'm guessing it's the arms and not the actual hands, although, I don't know. I mean, that's got to be a weird thing to, like, mention at fucking, like, parties or something like that. I don't know why I'm stuck on parties and mentioning random shit, but that's what I'm doing. So, I mean, it's like, oh, hey, how'd you get that little bit of stigmata there on your hand, Phil? Oh, well, I just get crucified every year on Good Friday. Don't worry, I get tetanus shots every year, and I can guarantee you I do not learn my fucking lesson. They keep nailing me up on that cross because I want to be. Like, can you imagine if Jesus came back today and he was like, whoa. Wait a fucking second. You opt to be nailed to a cross? Motherfucker, I was forced and killed. You're getting off easy. Let's see who we got. We got Jane and Sean from the Skeptic Mafia in the house. We've also got Debunkosaurus. How you doing? Godless Lesbians here. Josiah Hansen, Gary, Quentin, Teresa Ferries. I learned from Teresa Ferries something interesting. The Orthodox and Eastern churches or whatnot actually celebrate shit on different days than like other Christians. So that's kind of interesting. Jonathan Hanachak, $2 to sing Happy Birthday.
Who are you singing happy birthday to?
I don't know. I'm gonna fumble the name. No, I'm just gonna fumble it. They didn't put a name, so this is what they get for $2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Sean Hawkins said, "I'll give you $4 not to."
You didn't do it in time, Sean. Sorry. Next time that happens, be sure to give it to me in time, and maybe I won't. Today I learned that the Triceratops possessed a ball and socket joint at the base of its skull, not found in any dinosaur or any mammal today. This joint would have allowed it to maneuver its head almost 360 degrees, allowing movement to any direction in a fraction of a second. Can you fucking imagine how scary this would be if this was on cats? Just imagine a cat almost able to twist its head fully around 360. Like you try to sneak up on a cat and it's just like, shit! And it turns around really quick, stares at you with those eyes that say, I'm gonna slit your throat with my claws tonight while you sleep. That would be some scary shit, right, hon? So yes, I think I hurt Peachy with my singing, but oh well. But this was very interesting. I love learning new things about dinosaurs and things that we learn about dinosaurs in the past because I find it very interesting. So I thought that I would just share that with you heathens here tonight. But of course, now we've got to balance out all of this good knowledge with some really fucking shitty knowledge, okay? More singing. I'm going to kill Peachy again. Shitty ass science! We're gonna explain shit really bad. Well, badly, whatever. It's you're ruining the bit again, honey. Sorry. So what do we have here? What do we got here tonight? Is my dick also at risk of falling off and hopping away? God damn! Whew! Oh my goodness, it looks like Ron Jeremy finally contracted something that brought life to his dick and it just jumped off and was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Whew! Okay, so basically this is an extreme version of those congenital diseases, okay? It's where normally it turns your junk into like a muffin and it falls off. In this case, your dick becomes sentient and gets the fuck away from you because wherever the fuck you put it, it does not want to go anymore. And so it just packs its balls up and it just gets the fuck out of there. As you can tell, this young man was just walking along in the snow, probably from that fucking snowstorm that's coming our way. But apparently he was just walking along in the snow and wherever he was going, his dick was like, I don't like the looks of this. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Oh man, but yeah, I don't know exactly what kind of tracks are made by this right here. Like, I don't know what makes dick tracks, but if you know, please leave in the comments right now or in the live chat if you're watching live. And yeah, we are getting snow because you know that's how the South works. Maybe we're gonna get actually like a good bit of snow, like 2.5 inches, maybe. I don't know. A good bit? Hey, that's a good bit for North Alabama. We've been dry of snow for like the past 5 years. So yeah, everything around here closes down when there's just a light dusting. So tomorrow people are just going to lose their fucking minds. Yeah, they're going to be eating their milk sandwiches, honey, but they're also going to be losing their mind. They are going to be screaming and shoving milk sandwiches into their face like, I don't know why I bought milk in bread. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm smacking myself in the head. Anyways. Oh, beer! I got my beer tonight. It's the 420 IPA, 420 strain. Apparently this is what weed smells like. Sorry, I drank a little too fast. Anyways, are you guys ready to get to the video tonight? Which we do have a slightly bit different of a layout tonight because I felt like this might be a little bit better of a way to do things. And I am actually going to do my little camera right here.
Orpheus and those.
You know, Orpheus, I thought it might have been a rabbit. I didn't want to say for certain, but it kind of seemed like a rabbit. Considering kind of the area that it was in and whatnot, and I've been playing Red Dead Redemption a lot in the past month or so, but that's what I'm going to attribute it to. Red Dead Redemption taught me to track rabbits. I can tell you right now, that dick trail was actually a rabbit trail. That rabbit had a big fucking dick. Gemma Scout. Oh yes, I didn't miss the vid. Nope, Gemma, you have not missed the vid yet. So, if you guys don't know, Kyle Butt, that's his actual name, has a video out there for a few months now, and I think it was actually reposted by somebody, and that's where I got it from. But so in this video, he's going to ask the question, did Jesus exist? Of course, being a Christian, Kyle thinks that he definitely did exist. So we're going to look at why he thinks Jesus existed, and I'm going to try to explain to you as to why he's wrong about it. Now, this isn't me saying Jesus definitely didn't exist. This is me saying that his reasons for thinking that Jesus existed are not adequate enough, even by historical standards, like actual historical standards that aren't fucked by religion. All right, let's see what he's got for us. Everybody ready? Does Jesus exist? Not did, you dumb motherfucker. Does Jesus exist?
Not currently.
Yeah, not currently.
What is that?
That is faux Google. That's Google faux. It is the alternative to Google that only exists in wherever the fuck you got this little intro from.
Does Jesus exist? 2,000 years ago, that question wouldn't have even been asked. That's simply because Jesus was alive and well in a small village in the land of Israel. Had you seen him for yourself, you most likely would have considered him to be an average-looking Jew. But he certainly wasn't average.
Actually, I think in the first century, at least up until probably, the oral history kind of started, I would think most people would be like, well, who in the fuck is this Jesus motherfucker? We are waiting for the Messiah, bitch! So, I mean, I don't know why that particular assessment, has any bearing, because, as soon as stories started propagating about Jesus, then it kind of becomes a moot point to say, well, nobody would have asked if he was a real person back then. It's like, well, for one thing, yeah, those that already believed in the religion are not going to be like, well, who the fuck's this Jesus motherfucker? They already know who Jesus is, okay? Number two, they would also already know the Messiah, the concept of the Messiah. And then number three, there were people that thought that Jesus was a mythical character. Not mythical so much, I misspoke. Not mythical, but celestial. They thought that he was purely celestial. Those would be the Docetists. This is evident in Ignatius of Antioch. If you look at his writing, he's got a completely different gospel than everything that we've seen. And he actually says that Jesus came, lived, died, and resurrected all in silence, and he only made his presence known after he resurrected by being like this giant star in the sky. So there's plenty of evidence to suggest that there, were people that considered him to purely be a celestial figure.
He spoke like no other spiritual teacher ever had. He proclaimed himself to be the Son of God. He forgave people's sins while he was on earth.
Okay, so basically nobody else could do this shit. Nobody else could be like, well, I'm God and I forgive your sins. Hey, you over there, Stan, I forgive your sins. I saw you sucking that donkey dick, but it's okay because I forgive your sins. See, that's easy. I just forgave Stan of sucking donkey dick. Now we don't have to kill Stan or the donkey. I don't know. Back then, they probably would have killed both just for shits and giggles.
He foretold his own death and performed verifiable miracles.
He performed verifiable miracles. How do you perform verifiable? Like, I get that there's a way to verify if something actually was a miracle, but there's no way that we could actually verify that Jesus did fucking miracles. The only references that we have to him doing miracles is in the Gospels, and you would need something that corroborates these miracles outside of the Gospels, because the Gospels are the ones making the claim that these miracles happened. So just saying, oh, these miracles happened, you would need a hell of a lot more evidence to suggest that supernatural shit can actually happen. Yeah, I think so. It was Jesus. He shoved his finger up his butt, and he's trying to give him the Holy Spirit. Yeah. Teresa Ferris, Godless engineer. Jesus existed because of the calendars, just like Brett Kavanaugh and his calendars that prove that he didn't sexually assault anyone. Yeah, well, calendars do seem to be a very important tool in defending your innocence. Digiluigi says he meant verifiable or veritable, not verifiable. Oh, I don't know. He said verifiable, didn't he? Yeah. Anyways, I'm just taking him at his word.
That even his enemies couldn't refute. His life, death, and resurrection were so powerful that he started a movement which remains in existence and continues to spread across the globe almost 2,000 years later.
So I don't know. I would disagree with this because there's no way to connect anything that has happened in history to a physical person needing to be here on Earth. Like, just the mere idea that Jesus existed either physically or celestially is all that's needed for the faith to propagate. Because inherent to the faith, you have, this commandment to go out and preach and convert people and everything like that. Even in the Old Testament, you had this idea that you needed to convert people that weren't part of the Israelite faith or the Judaism. So you have this idea that's inherent to even the precursor to Christianity. So all you really need is the idea of Jesus and not an actual physical Jesus, because even by the biblical standards, Jesus didn't do shit to spread his truth. All Jesus did was he pimp walked down the shore, picked up a few brothers, picked up a few brothers and some other motherfuckers along the way, and then he just went around preaching his own particular gospel. Like, he wasn't trying, like, he was spreading what he was preaching, but he felt like he was preaching the Jewish faith, and he was going to Jewish temples, and he was expanding the Jewish faith. He wasn't teaching Christianity. He was teaching his own version of Judaism that later became Christianity.
Since millions of first century Jews lived, died, and faded away, just the fact that you're even wondering if Jesus exists says something about him. But let's get to...
Oh, guys, you know what? Just because you're wondering if Loch Ness Monster exists, that means something about him. He had to exist. Or she, I don't know. It could be a Zer down there. We don't know what kind of gender it is. But anyways, Loch Ness Monster probably exists at the bottom of the Loch Ness. Also, in case you don't know, Xenu. The fact that we're still thinking about Xenu proves that his ass exists. And he's piloting the flat earth on the dome little cock pilot up there. And he's shitting things down on us. Also, if you didn't know, there's several hundreds of other mythological creatures that we're wondering, oh, were these people real? And just because we're wondering that these people were real, that means that they had to be real in some kind of aspect. Don't bullshit me, asshole. And I'm using that as a reference to his name. But you're a butthole. I don't know. That was pretty stupid. You're a butt. What?
No.
Oh, the coffee? Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, this is a set, so, I mean, he could hate coffee. He's just trying to relate to people.
Fuck him, then.
I know. Fuck him and his coffee-hating ways, Kyle ass.
the heart of the question. You see, the modern atheistic community, they've determined to deny and reject all things that bear any hint of the spiritual or supernatural.
See, this is a complete misrepresentation. We're not so hardcore on denying either of those things. We just want evidence. And because you can't present evidence, that's why we deny those things. Or we'll deny them as being part of reality. That's all that we're doing. We don't believe in them. We're not saying supernatural events can never happen or have never existed in the past. Same thing with spiritual things or spirituality. But we don't believe in them because we don't see any kind of evidence that tells us that it's actually part of reality.
And for this reason, many of them not only claim Jesus was not the Son of God, but they claim that he never even lived on earth.
Now, I disagree with him connecting these two ideas right here because you have plenty of atheists in the community that think that Jesus actually existed on earth, but don't think that he was the Son of God. It's actually quite a minority of atheists in the community that don't think that Jesus actually lived on earth. So him presenting it like this is a little bit of either a generalization fallacy or a straw man fallacy. He's trying to make us look like we're all quacky and kooks and everything like that, when really there are some quacky and kooky kind of mythicist arguments and everything like that out there, but you have to learn how to sift through the crazy shit and get down to the things that are factually supported. You got to look at factual information and see what actually supports your position, instead of just going off of whatever kind of wild-haired fucking thing is said, like Joseph Atwill and his whole idea that the Romans invented Jesus. That's dumb as fuck, and there's no evidence to suggest that whatsoever.
With all due respect, this accusation is nothing short of ridiculous. Jesus' life is one of the most historically documented lives in all of ancient history.
No, Jesus' life is not the most historically... Sorry, it's hard for me to contain my laughter. Jesus' life is not the most historically attested thing in history. That's just ridiculous. The Gospels were penned by anonymous authors, and they were penned about 40 years after, the very earliest one, being Mark, was penned 40 years after the supposed events of the Bible. So I don't see how you could say that it's the most accurate thing. For one thing, they weren't trying to record history. The entire Bible is meant to teach people things like morals and the system of their religion and everything like that. So it wasn't actually meant to record history. And so keeping that in mind, you wouldn't go to the Bible for historical evidence. Now, does the Bible contain some historical things? Yes, Pilate exists, Herod existed, and everything like that, but it's when the Bible puts everything together, it's all bullshit. Just because Harry Potter mentions a lot of things that actually exist in reality doesn't make Harry Potter actually real. Let's see, Tim NJ Devil says a spit take would have been a hysterical, though. It would have been I don't want to ruin my walls, okay?
With me spitting tea out.
Yeah.
Now, any person who wanted to discover the truth about Jesus' life should begin by looking at the books of the New Testament.
I agree. And you may not think that I would agree with this, but I do think that you need to look at the books of the New Testament. And especially Paul's writing, considering his was first. And then you can go on to look at Mark's writing, and then Matthew, then Luke, and then John. And you can see how progressively fucking crazy it gets and how supernatural it gets. So if you really want to look at what the first century Jewish Christians actually believed, look at Paul and look at Mark. Now, both of those heavily rely on the scriptures for their information. Paul directly says that he gets his information from Revelation and scripture, and only those places. So with those being the only places that he cites, and then in Mark, every single section is tied to some kind of prophecy, supposed prophecy, in the Old Testament. And you can't get around that, because it says, in fulfillment of this prophecy, and then it quotes the fucking prophecy in Mark. We covered it back on Jesus' supposed birthday, which isn't even true, even if he actually existed on earth. But anyways, so I would agree. Go look at the New Testament. Read the New Testament with a critical eye. Keep in mind that the Old Testament existed way before the New Testament was written.
You see, the atheistic community claims that these books can't be used to prove that Jesus lived on earth because they're biased.
I would not say the atheistic community says that the Bible can't be used to prove Jesus existed in history because of bias. I would say that the mythicist community definitely says that, and I would say that the atheist community, probably at large, doesn't like the use of the Bible to prove anything that Jesus did in the Bible. But I feel like the way he's representing it here is totally strawmanny and fallacious. Craig Lee, hey bro, enjoy the channel. Hello from Alabama. Craig from Twitter. Oh, hey there, Craig. How you doing? Oh, you ready for snow there, Craig? I'm ready for snow. Well, I mean, I'm ready to stay my ass inside and not freeze my nuts off. I don't want my nuts and my balls. I don't want my balls and my dick to jump off because I went outside in the snow. I'm just saying.
I don't want that either.
Nope. KC loves them.
Well, this claim fails for two reasons. First, the atheistic writings themselves are biased.
Atheistic writings themselves are biased. So anything that an atheist writes is biased and therefore is invalid. See, this is what you would call, like, I guess a non sequitur, because it gets us nowhere. Like, it doesn't connect from the previous statement to this statement. Like, it doesn't help advance the conversation or anything like that. It's just like saying, oh, well, if my books are biased, then your books are biased because fucking people wrote them that think those things that they wrote in the book. And it's just like, what the fuck purpose does this exactly have? This doesn't prove anything. Yeah, people are going to be biased in their writing, but that's why you have to look at their hard facts. You have to look at the hard facts of what they're saying. If they're just spouting off random shit like, you know what? Jesus was invented by the Romans. Then you go, oh, okay there, Joseph. What evidence do you have to support this? Oh, well, I got wild hair coming right out my asshole right now, and that's what it says. And it's like, okay, well, until you get actual evidence, I think that I'm just going to tell you to fuck off. Craig Lee, yo, my friends think I worship the devil now, lol. Hey, you know what? People that KC work with think that she worships the devil and kills cats and stuff. Josiah Hansen, this guy is so deep gagging that Jesus D that it's traveled the winding path and the head is poking out the other end. Enjoy that mental image. God damn it. So are you saying that Jesus's tip is poking out of Kyle Butt's butt? Yep. Yep.
But none of these writers claims that his or her own writing should be rejected. And second,
well, actually, I would think that any of them would be like, yes, be critical of me, like criticize my work. And I mean, I get that a lot of people may react harshly to criticism, but at the same time, you should be able to criticize whatever they think. Just like we should be able to criticize what the Bible says. And we should be able to compare what the Bible says to actual history and call bullshit on that stuff. Oh, look, we got Reese. Thank you for dealing with me, GE. Hey, no, there's no need for that, man. I don't deal with you. You're a lovely part of my life there, Reese.
The New Testament documents are, even from a secular point of view.
Oh, Godless Iowans here, but... And Mrs. Snarky. He just said that the New Testament is based on secular documents. Second, even from a secular view, the New Testament... Oh, wait, hold on. He said something different.
Rejected. And second, the New Testament documents are, even from a secular point of view, the most historically reliable documents penned from the first century.
Oh, okay. I misheard what he said. Sorry. But yeah, it's still not true. Not at all. And I find it odd how he's saying that from a secular view they're the most historically reliable documents, because they're fucking not. You know how I know? Because I study this shit constantly. So basically, the first reference to the Israelites didn't happen until about the 12th century BCE, and they were a small group of people. They didn't even get to over 100,000 in population until the 10th century. Now, why this is very critical to the Bible and how it's not historically reliable is the fact that Moses supposedly led all of his people out of Egypt like in the 15th century, or some people have even suggested the 14th century, but anyways, either way, before there was any kind of mention by the Egyptians of Israelites, they say that Moses led people out, and then they say that they were numbering in the 2 to 3 million after that. 2 to 3 million. They didn't gain enough people in their little people group until the 10th century to even, like, they weren't 100,000 until the 10th century. So they're not the most historically reliable documents, and he's talking about the first century here, but this even applies to the first century, because in the first century you had people that trusted oral sources more than you had people trusting scripture instead of oral sources or like first-hand accounts or anything like that. So to say that they're the most historically reliable documents is totally fucking fabricated. All of the Gospels are penned by anonymous people. And also, Matthew and Luke, their particular stories about how Jesus was born contradict each other. Not only in what happened, but also in time. Matthew happens 10 years before Luke's happens. So I don't want to hear this shit about how they're historically reliable documents.
World-renowned archaeologist Nelson Gleck once said, quote, "It may be stated categorically that no archaeological discovery has ever controverted a biblical reference. Scores of archaeological findings have been made which conform in clear outline or exact detail historical statements in the Bible."
So Nelson Gleck here actually said this in 1959, and since that time we have made many other discoveries. But also Nelson Gleck, whatever, he's speaking from a Christian-centered worldview. There are people out there, just like Nelson, that say that the Shroud of Turin is a legit shroud that encased Christ's body. There are people out there that believes that James ossuary is actually the brother of Jesus, and that on the ossuary it says that, you know, here's James, brother of Jesus. That was actually a forgery. And then you have many other people out there that claim to have found, like, Sodom and Gomorrah. And all those have been bunked too. Same people like Nelson Gleck have went out and said they have found remnants of the ark. So he's speaking from a time before we've made so much more archaeological advancement into the study of what the Bible claims. Like, now we know that Abraham, Moses, Noah, all them fucks, they never actually existed. I don't know if you knew that, but they were made up by the Jewish people. Because, you see, the Jewish people were actually an offshoot of the Canaanites, and they eventually drifted away not only physically, but ideologically. So they made up their own backstory to include Abraham and all these other patriarchs. And the reason why they did this was to teach people about, like, their new faith, to teach people about what they believed. That's all that they were trying to do. They were not actually trying to write history. Another thing is that the Bible mentions camels being used by the Israelites before they were actually introduced to the region. Another thing is that King Solomon's mines, apparently, those have never existed either. There's been a recent archaeological advancement that shows that those mines never existed. So you have to go with the most recent information, and this is probably the most widely used thing, other than this is the most widely used apologetic other than the appeal to authority, which maybe we'll cover here in a minute. But I have to say that doing this is so disingenuous that it's laughable.
End quote. You see, the Bible is accurate history.
The Bible is accurate history. In Matthew, he has Jesus being born in like 4 BCE, while in Luke, he's born in 4 AD, or 6 AD. Fuck, I keep getting those mixed up. God damn you, Bible. And then in John and in the canonical Gospels, Jesus dies on different days. And the reason why that happens is because John wants to connect Jesus with the actual sacrificing of the lamb, thereby actually making him the sacrificial lamb. Whereas before, that wasn't the focus. So there are different things that each gospel does in order to promote the version of Jesus that they want people to know about, because they were different Christian sects in the early first century, or rather Jewish Christian sects.
And it documents the life of Jesus Christ at length. You know what though? Even if we didn't even have the Bible, even if we didn't have the documents of the New Testament, we would still be able to establish the fact, the historical fact, that Jesus Christ lived.
Ooh, we're getting into the meat of this shit now. I would love to know how you actually support the idea that Jesus Christ actually living is a historical fact. Because not even I say that it's a historical fact that Jesus didn't exist. I say that Jesus probably didn't exist. And that's what most mythicists, if they get a good head on their shoulders, will tell you. And if you're saying that Jesus in fact did not exist, and you're not speaking like with a nuance of it being the magical supernatural Jesus, but just like a human person, regular guy that started Christianity, you would have to be able to support that with actual facts in history to say that it's a historical fact.
A man by the name of Josephus, well-known Jewish.
Fuck me right in the Jesus hole. Fucking Josephus. Okay, before he gets into it, there are two passages in Josephus that supposedly mention Jesus. There's one that connects Jesus to a James, calling him his brother, and then there's the Testimonium Flavianum. Now, the Testimonium Flavianum has a lot of different problems, which I'm actually going to be covering in an upcoming video. But basically, the writing style of the person that wrote that particular piece does not match anything else that we see in Josephus. That particular passage breaks up the surrounding passages, which seamlessly flow together. Also, there's supposedly some redacted versions that confirm a more secular view of this passage. Those were actually debunked as being only from Eusebius's text. All extant manuscripts that mention Josephus only come from Eusebius of Caesarea. And it's more likely that he edited the document or his predecessor edited it and then started using that in his apologetics because that is the first instance that we ever find it. Now, we could argue about the James reference later on, but basically it's an interpolation. And originally it could have said any number of things, but the fact that later on it's talking about Jesus ben Damnius rather than any other kind of Christ figure Jesus, I would say that it's more likely that the original Jesus mentioned in the passage was Jesus ben Damnius, and it was edited later for Christians to use it in their apologetics.
Historian mentioned Jesus twice. He wrote about a man named James, the brother of Jesus, who is called the Christ. Additionally, the Roman historian Tacitus wrote.
All right, before I'm gonna let you finish, but first I gotta tell people how bullshit you are. So Tacitus was actually writing in the 2nd century about an event that happened in 64 AD. Tacitus was in direct contact with Pliny the Younger, who was currently interrogating Christians in his province. So Tacitus could very well have likely gotten all of his information about Christians from Pliny the Younger, considering they were in constant contact. So another thing to consider is that Tacitus, when writing his piece, mentions the person named Christ, and then just a sentence later calls the person Chrestus. Now, here's a big distinction: Christ is a title, Chrestus is a name. So it's more likely that this is an interpolated passage or completely forged on its own, because it doesn't actually appear until about the 4th century AD. So using Tacitus, even at face value, even if you consider it saying Christ, you can't say that Tacitus actually cements Jesus in history, because everything mentioned in Tacitus was already part of the faith by the 2nd century. JC, $5. Fact! Beer was here before Jesus. You want citations? Call 666-666 Satan AM, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. I agree.
In regards to the originator of Christianity, he said, quote, Christ had been executed in Tiberius's reign by the governor of Judea, Pontius Pilatus.
All of that was mentioned in the Bible, I guess mentioned in the theology of Christians by the 2nd century. So this doesn't actually say anything. For one thing, it doesn't mention Jesus by actual name, just by title. So it's just Christ, which is the Messiah of Judaism.
End quote. Which is virtually exactly what the New Testament documents say.
No shit, ass! Sorry, but no shit, but so the fact that it was almost the exact same thing that the New Testament says, and then Tacitus is writing in the 2nd century. Could it be that he just got from Christians, what Christians thought about their Messiah? No, it has to be a direct fucking reference. See, here's how historical studies go. Historical studies rely on the earliest reference that you can find. If you find a reference that's earlier than all the other references, then that would be the first reference. And then all the other references could have pulled from that particular reference depending on its area, who wrote it, and all this other stuff. So you have to critically look at where they got their information. That's why it was important for me to discuss how Tacitus came to know what the Christians believed.
Oh.
Wait, Craig Lee, if God was real, he made weed. I couldn't agree more there, Craig. At least that's what I've heard.
Make no mistake about it, Jesus lived on earth. There's no serious question from any historical view about that.
Well, yeah, there is. I mean, there's a legitimate mythicist view that questions that and makes a good argument based on facts.
In fact, just notice the calendar.
Here we go, the calendar argument.
What do the years 2012 AD, 2013 AD, 2014 AD mean? Well, the letters AD stand for the Latin terms Anno Domini, meaning in the year of our Lord. All time revolves around the fact that Jesus lived.
No, all time does not revolve around the fact that Jesus lived. Like, that's ridiculous. For one thing, the universe is like, nearly 14 billion years old? 13.8, maybe 13.4, something like that. Billion years old? So, no, Christ is just a fucking little ass particle speck in a moment of time. Even smaller than that. So, no, it doesn't all revolve around Jesus. That's just presumptuous as fuck. Another thing is that this particular calendar, the Gregorian calendar, actually wasn't developed until the 1500s. And it was actually a pope named Gregory that did it. I believe it was Pope Gregory, like the 8th or something like that. or 13th. Pope Gregory the 13th. Anyways, the problem was that they were previously using the Julian calendar. Now, what's interesting about the Julian calendar is that it actually did a shitty job of calculating like the solar year. And so therefore dates would keep moving. And that was the problem that Gregory had, because Easter kept moving later and later and later into the spring. And so he developed his own calendar that was a lot more accurate than the Julian calendar. Now, the Julian calendar, do you know what the Julian calendar used as its reference point in the past? The Julian calendar used the founding of Rome as its reference point in which to judge time. Now, what do you think a pope in the 1500s would use as a reference point in the past to start counting fucking time? Oh, would it be weird fucking dude that lived in the 15th century BCE or anything like that? No. He would have used fucking Jesus, and that's exactly what he did. doesn't mean that Jesus actually existed just because our calendars say so. Did you know that it's only been in the last 260 years that we started using the Gregorian calendar, even though it's been like created and used elsewhere since the 1500s? So I don't want to hear this shit about how the calendar proves that Jesus existed, okay?
Does he still exist? His faithful followers died martyrs' deaths because they preached that he rose from the dead and ascended into heaven. Oh, Jesus lived on earth.
So what? So they preached that he rose from the dead and he ascended into heaven. So fucking what? That doesn't mean that he actually existed. They could have just made that shit up. There are plenty of people that just walk along the sidewalk shouting weird shit. One time, I was walking in New York City when I was in like middle school. Some guy walking along the road shouting at birds, shit talking birds. He was shit talking the birds. Does that mean that the birds were actually fucking talking to him? I guess that's a possibility. But more likely than not, he was just fucking crazy. And just like this, Paul was just fucking crazy. I mean, he was seeing visions of a dead guy who was telling him all about this new religion and things that he did here on earth. And Paul is only a representation of what was going around in the first century. So, could have a physical person existed? Sure. No, physical person could have. But then you'd have to negate, or rather ignore, all of the previous evidence about the Messiah in Judaism, because Philo of Alexandria actually lists off all of the properties of this Messiah figure that appear in the Gospels and in Paul's theology. So the fact that there were Christians, or Jewish Christians in the first century, looking to the scriptures to describe what Jesus did here on earth, how he was born, and all this other shit, that would be Paul and Matthew, because they were looking to the scriptures for shit that he did. And we have Jews that were writing about this Messiah figure. And in the Septuagint version of Zechariah, you actually have them naming the Messiah Jesus. So you have to ignore all of these other things in order to say that Jesus actually existed on earth. And I guess that's fine if you want to do that. But all of these other things you have to address. You have to be like, nope, that doesn't mean that Jesus was probably made up. And if you want to do that, fine, but you have to have a good reason in order to say that. And just brushing them off is not a good enough reason for me. And I'm not telling you what kind of standard of evidence to have, but I just would have better standards for evidence.
And he still lives today in heaven, waiting to return and take his followers back to heaven.
And he's been doing it for 2,000 years.
With him. Will you be one of those faithful followers?
No, I won't. Actually, there was this guy, clearly flat earth, that was like, hey, Godless engineer, have you reconsidered Jesus yet? And I told him exactly this. I was like, yep, I sure have. I told Jesus to go suck his own fucking dick. And the guy came back with, wow. Like I wasn't going to tell Jesus to suck his own goddamn dick. But Kyle Butt, thank you for being on the show tonight. Fuck me. I was lucky. Jesus came and took me right as I was ending it. Thank you so much, Jesus, for not taking me before that point. I've thoroughly debunked your existence. No, I'm kidding. I haven't debunked his existence. I still say that it's most likely that Jesus probably never existed, but I don't say for certain or that it's a historical fact that he didn't. That would be ridiculous. But I feel that Kyle here is misrepresenting the atheist community in general with this whole video by plastering everybody in the atheist community as mythicists. So, yeah. Anyways, thank you, Kyle, for joining, and now we're going to go on to some Skeptic Mafia shit. Oh, wait, hold on. First, we got to do this. Thank Thank you, heathens, for making it to this live stream, or the you rewatching the live stream. If you will, there's probably some links around here on the screen. Maybe if YouTube has fixed their shit. If you will, click any of those and either subscribe or watch another video. That would be awesome. We're going to be going on to Skeptic Mafia comments, but if you're watching this on the rerun, you won't be able to do that, hopefully. But I hope that you will subscribe, stand up, and use your voice, and we'll see you heathens later. But we're doing comments, guys! Alright, so in case you guys don't know, we have the Skeptic Mafia here, which is just the membership of the channel as well as the Patreon. You can go to joinskepticmafia.com if you would like to join the Skeptic Mafia. You can hit the join link here right on the watch page, or you can go to patreon.com, Godless Engineer, and you can become a Skeptic Mafia there. So now we're going to be going on to comments, which I have to say there's going to be a few that I'm not going to be able to read because you guys are leaving too long of posts. So I'm going to have to skip one or two of you guys tonight, and I'm really sorry about that, but we've got to move this portion along so we can get to actual comments. We got Bug Loves Cat says, "Hey GE, I won't get to see the live stream live, but I can't wait to watch it later." Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that I'm glad you're going to be able to watch it later. I really appreciate that. Trickster, he's live. Gary White, I think I'm the fourth. JC, oh no, I guess I didn't taper it down enough. Well, no, JC, you didn't. I think you're still going to be on screen maybe, but I'm not really, I don't know if you're on screen or not, but yeah, I'm not going to be able to read all of that because I got to get through everybody's stuff, so sorry, man. Quentin Van Boeven says, "Personally, I'm on the fence with the historical Jesus. I do love your videos on the topic, though. Helps me become more informed. Don't have anything funny to say other than this will be a good stream." I hope I lived up to that, Quentin. I hope that I gave you some pretty good information. I hope that it was some information that maybe you didn't know. So I hope that was very, very informational to you. Amicajo Separatists. The Latin words Anno Domine. Did anyone else hear that? It sounded like 10,000 nuns pulling out rulers. The name's pronounced Amicao, formerly, the name's pronounced Amicao, formerly Terrence Clark. Oh, okay. Amicao. I fucked that up. Yeah. Teo Software, Kyle Butt. Is this from NonSec? No, it's not from NonSec. At least I don't think so. Maybe they did cover this, but I'm not sure. Teresa Ferris, did anyone else cringe when old Kyle here said, "Your average looking Jew"? I swear my cringeometer was registering off the charts because I can guarantee you he loves Israel and that it's the path to the second coming. But the actual people who follow the Jewish faith, he probably doesn't care much for. Well, he probably thinks they're going to hell and they're going to get pineapple shoved up their ass by Hitler, which makes him 10 times worse. Yeah, he probably does think that Jesus is white, honey. And that makes him a racist. Yep. Jane, I'm going to have to say that your post was a little on the border. Yours was a little borderline. I'm going to read it this time, but please try to taper it down a little bit more, okay? I believe as a person he may have existed in some point in human history, even though archaeology findings has found very little to suggest the New Testament Jesus or actual Jesus existed. Although I truly believe an apocryphal 1st century Middle Eastern Jew that was a rabbi that preached prophet-type messages did exist, and that this rabbi is what sparked the creation of the New Testament, and it is possible that the local people during that time thought this person was the Messiah, and therefore rumors, stories, and legends were created about him and his message that he taught. I also believe he was crucified, but not for the reasons early followers of him thought. This Jesus that I'm talking about may, of course, May, of course, evidence may never be found because it has been possibly lost to time, and evidence of the real person has probably been destroyed. Well, that's actually a pretty good assessment there, because there is evidence of surgical editing on some historical manuscripts. Like specifically having a complete volume of works and having only the section where it might have mentioned Jesus cut out of that particular work. And so it's very odd to see that. I'm not saying that that actually proves some kind of conspiracy to hide something, but it's very odd that you would find in the past these surgical edits to things where the shit just doesn't exist because it was lost to time. Michelle Anderson. I've definitely become a mythicist. Oh, that's awesome to hear there, Michelle. honey, it's your Michelle. She's a mythicist. I've been leaning that way for some time, but a class on world mythology pushed me over the side of the fence. The fact that comments were disabled tells me that he's already aware of how easily his arguments can be debunked. Yeah, it probably was flooded. I mean, I can't be the first one to find it. This guy reminds me of a character of the preacher from Young Sheldon TV show. The Bible accurate history, that is laughable at best. Hey, I laughed too there, Drew. As for the calendar, when you lived in a world that is controlled by the church, is it any wonder the calendar was created? That was created is based on their God's timing. That is hardly proof of Jesus. I agree. I guess Thursday proves Thor, Odin's Day proves Odin, Freya Day proves Freya, and Saturn Day proves Saturn, etc. I agree there, Drew. It was a dumb fucking way to argue that. Oh, Gemma Scout! Hey, everybody, Gemma, she has a channel that she's making content on, and it's got some pretty good content on there. So definitely go and subscribe to Gemma and look out for all that awesome content that she's putting out there. Yay! Can't wait for this one! Yeah, I hope that I lived up to your expectations there, Gemma. All right, next. Comments are disabled on his vid. I wonder why. Probably because he's a little bitch! Long live and prosper. Oh, live long and prosper. Sorry. I'm Star Wars, remember?
No, for myself.
Yeah, Casey right now is saying that she's embarrassed for herself because she should have taught me better. Anyways, Gary White, I won't disagree with you on that. Looks like a good video. Can't wait to watch it. Oh, awesome. Oh, we've got NIFB Jesus that has become a member. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Remember how we welcome new members, guys. We just throw up a whole bunch of fucking emojis. Thank you for becoming a member. Just have all those emojis right there. There you go. Yeah, I hope it lived up to your expectations there, Gary. Be sure to let me know in some way. Teresa Ferris, again, as to the question, is it possible that the biblical Jesus existed? Yes, but is it likely or definite? Probably not. So I attended an ELCA Lutheran college in Minnesota, had to take a couple of religion classes, one of them in my freshman year. My professor that year was a Reformed Jew, the first Jewish religion professor in my school's history. It was essentially a Bible survey class. When we were reading the story of Noah, he had us read the Babylonian tale of Gilgamesh. Pretty much since then, it forced me to sit and question the other tales in the Bible, because they all pretty much they all pretty much taken from other traditions and then claimed as their own. That's a very good observation, because they were, even internally to the Bible, they have taken older stories from the Old Testament and presented them in paralleled ways in the New Testament. Trickster! He starts out with the supposition that Jesus existed. Classic apologenetics. He uses a lot of it he uses a lot of biased and debunked sources. Can't even count how many times I've heard these arguments on your podcast alone. Nothing new in these arguments. Maybe they all believe if you say it loud enough and enough times, people will believe you. Well, oddly enough, I mean, I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think that the reason why these apologists are broken records and say it all the time is because you say it enough times and you beat it into people and they begin to believe it. So I definitely think that, but also, I mean, that's kind of the reason why I am not afraid to repeat information presented. Like, I've covered Tacitus, I can't remember how many times, but the amount of times that I go over it allows me to know the information better, but it also allows you to know the information better. Globo Rob, Dr. Butt and Cunt Koresh. These guys both sound very familiar and speak in a very similar manner. Therefore, my conclusion, they are both equally fucking fucktards. I can claim this and more about them because if they are going to just spew out utter nonsense without a single shred of evidence, then what the heck? We shall do the same. I agree. Whiskey is God. Godless engineer is magnificent. I agree. I am. That's not pretentious at all. I know, but me saying it is definitely pretentious. I personally think Jesus is a mythical, this is NZ Pure, conglomerated character similar to the likes of King Arthur, but this guy's arguments for Jesus are pretty bullshit. Josephus's mention of Jesus is clearly a later addition, and Tacitus is more like, and Tacitus is more likely Roman propaganda suggesting the leader of the Christians is dead and they have been victorious. Something to be celebrated being that Nero blamed the Christians for the 6-day fire. This is getting too long, my bad. TLDR, I call bullshit! In GE's most ridiculous voice. Well, here, let me try a different ridiculous voice. I call bullshit! I don't know, that wasn't too ridiculous. That was just Southern. Yeah, well, Nero did blame them, but another thing to consider here, though, is that there were other historians that were in the city at the time of it was burning, and didn't record Nero blaming the Christians. And Tacitus saying that Nero blamed the Christians didn't actually appear until much later. So you have to kind of consider that. I think that there's a solid case to say that it's completely interpolated, or like there was none of that was originally there. But just look into it a little bit, and I think that you'll see what I'm talking about. And regardless of where you come out on it, at least you've investigated the information. Craig Lee, we need to have lunch when I'm back in town, dude. Oh, totally, Craig. godlessengineering@gmail.com. Hit me up. Or on Twitter, because I believe you said that we were on Twitter. Let's see. Nathan, Casey is putting a link in the chat for you. What link is it? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Thank you, honey. So Chrismer, we gotta talk, man. This was really hard to capture completely. So yeah, it's really good, and I appreciate it, and that's why I'm including it. But yeah, I can't read it all. If you notice, he's flipping a table and putting on sunglasses down there. Since I missed Friday's show, here's a little recap using different codes this time. I appreciate your ASCII art, Chrismer. I really do. Yeah, it's not long. It just seems that way because of the ASCII code. I'm just saying, like, it was hard for me to capture. That's all. Okay, and then one final one, which I believe that I've already said Teresa's comments here, but Fallen God says, "Ding! I'm for the South, but this guy is the South." All right, heathens, y'all know what time it is? Yeah, if I can reset it and get it. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Shit. There we go. Comments of the day! Prepare to face bump yourself in the next week. Nope, those weren't chords. Craig Lee! So nice to have a Southern homie here on YouTube. See you soon, my brother. See you soon there, Craig. So Gordon Richstone says, are you retarded? I mean, stupid, fat, and ignorant is no way to go through life. Okay. I don't know why you get to judge me like that, Gordon. Every time you come on to this show, you're shit talking me all the time. I also don't like the insinuation of retarded being stupid. I know a lot of people kind of use it that way, but I really don't like using it that way. Well, yeah, or at all. Okay, this one's kind of long, and I'm not even gonna read all of it because it's just a diatribe. But I like how he starts it out. Okay, this is Bryce from The Smallest Light, and he's saying, "Godless engineer is a waste of life who spends their time talking about flat Earth. I am a flat Earth YouTuber, yet he talks about flat Earth 10 times more than me. 10 times more videos also. Can somebody say, what the fuck?" Well, currently right now, Flat Earth, I feel like is putting out a lot of content, a lot of anti-science content, and that is part of this channel, anti-science. So if you don't like it, then you can fuck off. I don't care how much you talk about Flat Earth. You know, I'm going to debunk bad arguments wherever they exist, and however many times you fuckers use them. You're fine. This one's a funny one, and that's why I included it tonight. Flat Earther, stick to nothing but the math and the laws of physics, and you'll see it can't be a ball. Reasonable person. Well, would turn a flat Earth into a ball? Well, I guess maybe what would happen if you turned a flat Earth into a ball? Flat Earther, gravity? There's no such thing. They've never proved it. It's just a theory. Literally changing the laws of physics to fit their stupid hypothesis. Shake my head. It's not even a hypothesis. It's just a shitty idea. Craig Lee, you crazy, filthy madman, my doppelganger. All right. I love how you speak in fact, pulling shit out of your ass, saying other people are pulling shit out of their ass. Research, not regurgitate! Like, you do research, and then you talk about the research that you did, and I guess you regurgitate the information. Like, how would she, because it's Mama Hannah, how would she not be doing the exact same thing if she watched a YouTube video and then used the arguments presented in that YouTube video? So, I mean, she'll say that, oh, I'm just using my senses. No, that's an argument that flat earthers use that you probably saw in a fucking video. It's one of those arguments that just doesn't get us anywhere, yet again. You fucking idiot! Audit TV is 100% correct in all that he says. It is you that is foolish one. And then 2 dots. It's not even grammar. Yep, I do. I love fucked up ellipses. But also what I love is that he can spell fucking, foolish, correct, and all that other kind of shit. He can understand percentages. But he can't spell out you? Saving those 2 letters was that important, Delroy. No, ODD TV is not 100% correct. He's actually like 95% wrong about shit. Like, there are some things that he says that are right. Like, normally when he's talking about, like, oh, well, I see that the Earth is flat. It's like, yeah, well, we all see, a flat Earth, but that doesn't actually make it a flat Earth. Hi, honey. Need help? Okay. You're fine. You get it from there? Okay. Jonathan Hanachek says, KC, could you sing happy birthday to me? GE can help. No, she won't sing, but I'll sing.
You already said happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. There you go. It's a quick one. I don't even know what this means. Scientism 2019 is your home. Oh, okay. I don't think that you could even define what scientism is. Like, I get that scientism is holding science as like kind of like a religion almost, but I no like nobody in their right mind is going to do that. But even if you do hold science as a religion, I think that you're just as wrong as anybody else, because science doesn't have a dogma. I mean, it's just ridiculous to try to impart a dogma onto science. I also like how anytime anything shit. I like how anytime anything contradicts what they think, immediately whatever you use to identify yourself as becomes a religion. It's like, oh, you're just dogmatic as fuck. Oh, okay. Because I disagree with you, that means I'm dogmatic. I got it. Nope. What's up there, Harry Thompson? Chrismer, finger puns for you, Godless Engineer. Oh, finger guns, not puns. Finger guns. Thank you, Chrismer. Yeah, Reese says, yeah, equals nah. Oh, on a previous thing that he said. I was just thinking the same thing, Casey, is what Whiskey God is saying. In the chat. So Erwin Doctor says GPS actually requires a minimum of 4 satellites to work. It works on XYZ basis, Z being elevation, and this is partially true. Like, it doesn't require a minimum of 4 satellites. Actually, the minimum amount of satellites required is 3. You have to have 3 in order to get a good location. But in order to be more precise, you need 4. And what he's saying here is true. In order to get elevation, you need the 4th satellite. But you can still get you could still get like an accurate position on the globe with 3 satellites. And I've actually got a link down in the description if you want to check that out. And it'll explain to you better about how GPS works and what it does for the 3 satellites, because it just assumes that you're at sea level no matter where you are on the Earth. Godless Engineer, how you know space you go to? Space Talk is chip. You are BS. Hey, well, bzz, bzz, I guess is what it'd be. But hey, he got the ellipses right. That's something, huh? So I don't know what you're trying to say here there, Elehua Litvin. I don't know what you're trying to say. Maybe you could, like, I don't know, comment on this video somehow and, like, tell me what you mean, because I don't fucking know what you're talking about. I love reading all your shapes, comments. Next best thing to NASA cartoons. Okay. So loving, reading people that are shitting on you and your ideas is better than NASA cartoons. Okay. I mean, if that's what gets you off at night, but I mean, don't bring that shit here. Okay, I'm just saying. Oh no, Proto-Borg. He got me! I'm wrong about something! Oh no! What a world! GE, sorry, bud, you got the tides wrong. The moon does in fact affect the tides, but the tides are caused by the rotation of the Earth. The sun ain't got nothing to do with it. So the rotation of the Earth obviously has something to do with it, but the moon is what is pulling on the water, and then the Earth rotating is what causes the tides and whatnot. So the moon definitely has an effect on it, but also the sun has an effect on it, which I'm actually going to show you. This is information that I got from the NOAA. Shit. Hold on. Yes, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Association. So here it is. Does anything else affect the tides? The sun causes tides just like the moon does, although they are somewhat smaller. When the Earth... Oh, shit, I'm behind this motherfucker. Hold on. There we go. When the Earth, moon, and sun line up, which happens at times of full moon or new moon, the lunar and solar tides reinforce each other, leading to more extreme tides called spring tides. When lunar and solar tides act against each other, and the result is unusually small tides called neap tides. There is a new moon or a full moon about every 2 weeks, so that's how often we see large spring tides. Booyah, motherfucker, I was not wrong. Okay, the sun does indeed cause, or has an effect on the tides. So, yeah, get fucked by knowledge. So yes, tides are definitely caused by Poseidon. Thank you for that. All right, last one, and then we are gonna get to any kind of questions or comments you might want to direct towards me. Now would be the time to enter them into the chat. I appreciate everybody being here tonight for this particular stream, because mythicism is one of my favorite topics to discuss, and I haven't really been doing that a lot on this channel, even in 2019. So I'd like to do a lot more of it. Huh? Oh, yes. If you want me to answer your question, you got to tag me at Godless Engineer right here in the chat, and I will do my best to get to you. We don't have a lot of time left, but I will do my best. Atoms, electrons, photons, all flat. I wonder how he gets there. Like, why does he think that they're all flat? Like, that's not anything that we've observed in reality. But I guess he thinks that the Illuminati is controlling science, telescopes, microscopes, and all that kind of shit. So, I don't know. Of course, he's probably afraid of science. Like, you throw a science book at him, and it's a lot like shoving kryptonite up the ass of Superman. But anyways, that's it for the comments tonight. I hope that you heathens loved or enjoyed this particular show tonight. I would love to answer any questions that you got. Be sure to tag me at Godless Engineer in the chat there, and I would love to answer them. Like I was saying before, mythicism is something that I investigated on my own, and I came into, on my own. And so, I'm, like I said, I'm passionate about it. I've been talking about it on my channel for almost since I started it. And I have to say, like, there's an app on the app stores called Crestus. You can go there and you can get it, and you can learn more about the mythicist position. At Godless Engineer, waist size for a kilt? Just email me so I don't have to reveal how big my ass is on the internet. godlessengineering@gmail.com. Here, there you go. Quentin Van Boeven, Godless Engineer, great stream. Loved it. Learned a bit too. That's awesome, Quentin. I know that you were wanting to learn some new stuff, so I'm glad that I was able to provide that. That's right, Team Skeptic. I am a children's size 69. Caro Genie C. GE, you have a mighty fine ass. Oh, thank you, Caro. You don't know what my ass looks like. Chrismer! Godless Engineer, this is one of my favorite emoticons. Can you figure out what it is? You're pinching boobies? You're looking at boobies? You're either pinching or you're looking at boobies. Jane Pusacker, Godless Engineer, I have always struggled with his followers. Why did they never record his words during their travels with Jesus if it happened? That's actually a very good question there, Jane. The reason why they didn't do it is because they were most likely illiterate people. And like if Jesus were to have existed. But as we know now, the Christian faith, everything that you know about the Christian faith was actually doctored and invented by very intelligent rabbis. And they would have had to have been intelligent like rabbis or prominent people in society for them to be able to write in the different languages that they had to write in. Gary White, GE, I think that he was spitting nonsense, Kyle Butt, and spreading a lot of bullshit. Yes, he was, Gary. I appreciate that you were able to spot that. Teresa Ferries, I'm just honored that I taught Godless Engineer something tonight. Usually it's the other way around. I'm glad that I've been able to teach you people something. Whiskey God, I want a wrench in front of my name. Well, I will definitely consider you for the next spot whenever I decide to give somebody a wrench again, okay? NIFB Jesus, Godless Engineer Jesus was clueless about microbiology and the importance of washing hands in the Levant of antiquity. I mean, that's kind of something weird. I mean, you would think that he would at least know to wash your goddamn hands, right? I mean, he was supposedly God himself. The motherfucker would have known to wash his hands instead of wiping shit with him. Mikeo, right? Maybe? Godless Engineer, my fave is the part where he goes off by himself to talk to God and somehow they know what he said. Yes, that is a very interesting part too. I like that particular part as well. It's like, how in the fuck did you record that, huh? You got goddamn, are you psychic? Reese said, Dean fucks the white engine. I wouldn't put it past him. Whiskey God, just hope that Godless Engineer doesn't have to throw that wrench at your head. Mrs. Snarky's drooling over at the library. I know, it's a pretty nice place, right? I mean, I just see a green screen behind me, but hey, my green screen's getting a lot better, right? I figured out that if I lit the back part of it and I turned it even greener, that it keys out a whole lot better. Knowledge, motherfuckers. Godless Island, Godless Engineer, could Jesus cure erectile dysfunction? Phew! You kidding me? Every time they get down on their knees and they suck that Jesus stick, do they cure the erectile dysfunction? I mean, it doesn't help the person sucking the dick, but, the person sucking Jesus's dick definitely gets him hard. Reese, Godless Engineer, last comment. Oh, okay. Mikijeo, KO, whatever. Separatist, Godless Engineer. Yep, you got it. But I think I'm going to have to change it back because I don't want to hurt you. I just need to get more whiskey is what I need. So I'm all caught up on your podcast now. Oh, that's awesome, Jonathan. Although we're actually going to have to delay the podcast tomorrow. So it'll be coming out a little bit later. Huh? It'll be out tomorrow. It'll just be a little delayed. Yeah, I could. Team Skeptic, Godless Engineer, have you ever looked into the river Ganges and why the Hindus who bathe in the shit water don't get sick? Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't get sick. I mean, I guess maybe they just have really good immune systems. I don't know. I would think that there would be people that would get sick. Teresa Ferris, this is an awesome library where Godless Engineer can shout to his heart's content. Josiah Hansen, Godless Engineer, really enjoyed it tonight. And yes, the comment was saying that Jesus debugging through Kyle's butt. Is that Alexandria Godless Engineer? I'm not sure what it is. I just pulled it. I don't think it's Alexandria. I think it's a different library. Israeli Defense Forces. Can you stop using the name of my people? My family was not killed by Nazis for you to make fun of the Bible. Please stop. It's not funny. Thank you. My people suffered because of their beliefs. Well, yeah, a lot of people suffer for their beliefs. And, I mean, I'm criticizing the Bible. I'm not criticizing your people. I mean, unless you're directly connected to, the first century, all of the first century Jews or whatnot. And even then, they were heavily diluted from the very original ones way back in like 1800 BC. So, no, I won't stop. Won't stop, can't get enough, whatever. Godless Engineer, guess I have to start all over at the beginning again. No, we're gonna keep pumping them out, and plus we got other videos that post every single day of the week here. Mrs. Snarky said, "Book ain't a person." Peachy, it has to do with the inoculation dose. Some do get sick, but some don't reach the threshold to get sick. Oh, okay, Peachy, that's good to know. Well, anyways, guys, Israeli Defense Forces, you're just another PewDiePie. I'll report your ass. Christmas and now they're gonna start calling you an anti-Semite, Godless Engineer. God damn it! Fucking PewDiePie! Anyways, heathens, we're gonna be going. It's just about that time, so I will see you heathens later. Don't forget. Oh wait, hold on. I got a special little end card for this shit. Thank you, heathens, for stopping by. I hope that you enjoyed this stream. If you did, go down there below and leave me. Go there below. Go down there and leave me a comment in the comments section. While you're down there, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you like this kind of mythicist content. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice, and I will see you heathens later.